Hi, I'm Sherry, and welcome back to my channel, Sherry Jones Designs. In today's video, I want to show you something that I'm doing that I'm having a lot of fun at it. It's a great way to upcycle your little scraps and to add value if you're selling on Etsy or eBay or wherever you're selling, to add some value and charm to a garment. Now, everybody knows I'm more of a country girl. I don't do a lot of frills and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just the way I am. But I love nature, and so I'm making little cute appliques. And the back on these look like this, and it has no eye because after I sew it on, I want to be able to add a button. And if I have a button here in my way, then my sewing machine's going to have trouble going around it. So yeah, I'm having so much fun. And you know, all those little scraps I throw away, I can't keep them all, but it's made me rethink what I throw away. And then here's another one, and I'm going to lay them out and show you guys how I'm doing it. But you know, I put a lot of things on the pockets of my garments, and I was like, this would be really cute. And then I had an idea, and here's another one. It's bigger though, and it looks kind of funky. I think this tail isn't quite right. I'm having fun. So I'll show you some different ones I'm making and some different ideas I've already had. I can't wait to hear your guys' ideas and experiences. This is, I don't quilt, so I'm sure this is more down the quilting line of things. And so I'm learning so much from you guys. It's just amazing. So thank you so much, and let me show you what I'm doing. Isn't he going to be cute? Cute little bunny. What I'm using is this came off of something around here, a piece of a shirt or something. But basically you want a backing, if you're going to do it like I'm doing it, you're going to want a backing of cotton, like a cotton fabric. It's not like a heavyweight, but it's not a lightweight. And then I'm just cutting out all my pieces. Look at all this scraps. Like this, I just cut out little legs. You have to kind of do the whole thing because, like, I want to go back and add some little birdie feathers here, but I'll have to, if I do that, I'll have to either tuck them under this little edge or take out some stitching here. On this one, I tried something different. I tried going around with a straight stitch first, like this, and then zigzag. Because remember, as I sew them on, and I'm trying black thread instead of white, as I sew them on, there'll be another layer of stitching all the way around again. So I don't want to overdo the stitching necessarily, but I thought, what if I used black and it was more like a color outline? So that's what I'm doing right now. And here's my little flower I just did. And the problem is they're quite large. In my pockets, I usually only use, about that big. So I'm trying to see how small I can go. And so this is the latest one I cut out. Isn't he adorable? Now, it would be so much easier with a fabric glue or a Pellon or something like that. You could just iron it in place and then stitch it. But I feel like that's not, like, I want to do it fully upcycled if I can. And so I'm not buying anything but thread, nothing extra. You obviously have to have thread. So what I'm doing is, everybody's machine will be different, but I'm setting it to a very, very small zigzag and almost to a standstill, just barely moving. Problem with my machine is, for some reason, when I reverse and come forwards, this is set by, basically, if I unscrew it, I can slide it down. And when you get to where you want, you're supposed to tighten it. The problem is you can't go in reverse unless you unloosen it again. So then I keep getting different lengths of stitches, but it actually is fine. And I've seen them where they take and they do a straight stitch this way, back and forth, and all over it, and drive all over. I'm going to try a couple that way. Another way I'm going to do it. Excuse my hands, I've been in the garden. My hands will get rougher and rougher as the year progresses. And the potatoes get closer to being dug. So I thought about taking a plaid, some kind of plaid fabric, and then so that I can actually do a square. You know how I use a lot of squares, and then do a little design on it, but just leave it as the square instead of cutting it out. So I'm going to do some that way, and I'm going to show you some of my different methods. And then I'd love to hear, like, if you've done anything like this or you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. All right, so one thing I suggest if you go to try to do this is a little sewing awl like this. This is very handy to have in your sewing room. Now, when you purchase them, they're going to be super, super sharp. That's okay if you're careful, but if you don't want it super sharp, you can go out. I don't suggest on like your front step, but you can go out on something rough like a rock or concrete somewhere, and just, if you don't, have a grindstone to make that go down a little bit, you can just dull it on that and go out on the road or something. Don't get run over though, okay? But what it does, it allows me to tuck things and move things. Now what I've been doing, like on this one, I actually started on the stem, came clear down, that way I locked in my leaves. I took the petals off first, but I'm okay if things move a little bit because I think it adds a character, but I don't want them completely out of whack. And then I'm just going to come forwards and just use this to hold things close to where I want them to be. Like the nose here, that's going to be picky. It can be put on later, and the little arms here can be put on later. I think I will move those. So let's get the base down. I'm going slow, and I'm pivoting. Whenever I see the fabric starting to bunch, I'm just giving a little bit of room to move there. And then I'm not being particular, like I might drive down this way first, I might come across this way first. I'm not even being particular about that. Like, I'm just having fun. It is fun. It is fun. I feel like a little kid. I feel like a little kid in kindergarten or something. And they let me play with all the big girls' toys. And I think I'll do around the head first. So much fun. Okay, I'm just going to see how that one turned out. And I do recommend clipping any extra strings pretty often, because it will grab them. I'm not worried if my design, I don't want to lose these pieces, but I'm just being careful. Also, I do not recommend, this one is almost too loose of a weave. Like, you want to use something that's got a pretty tight weave, because you don't want it to pull out during washing if you're going to put this on a garment. Remember, when I put it on, I will be re-sewing these edges, because even this one, see how the fraying? But if it's a tighter weave like this, you're not going to get as much, and it's going to last longer. The fraying will actually make it cute. I've done a little bit of this, but never, usually right on the garment. I've never done the pieces separate, so that I can go, I'm going to have a little tray of these. I can go just, when I'm sewing, I can just go pick up one, put it on a pocket. You know how cute to make, you can make possums and foxes and coons. You could make all kinds of little things. But I love birds, you know, like, I really love birds, so I imagine a lot of them will be birds. I think I'll just go ahead and remove this before I lose them. I'm trying to see how small I can go before it gets like impossible. Okay. It is tedious. If you're not the kind of person that can take tedious work, it probably will drive you crazy. And definitely I would use some kind of iron-on thing. Most of the time though, when I use iron-on Pellon or anything like that, I've used it. It adds a thickness to the fabric as well, and I don't really want that in my pockets and in my upcycles. Like if I go to use this on the front somewhere, I don't want that thickness, so. Alrighty, I'm going to now put on my other little pieces. Even though this will inspire me to keep every little piece, I'm probably going to keep mostly the stuff that's smaller print if I keep it, because I think it looks cuter in this in the end product. By the way, I got this off of Temu for 87 cents. I've seen them for under $5 on Amazon. So Walmart probably also has them really cheap, or Joann's, Michael's. So just look in the leather sewing section. I think every sewing room should have one, because you don't have to get your fingers really close. And even in like knits, I can encourage a top fabric and make a better looking seam. I'm not sure which I like. I'm not sure if I like the white thread or the black. Let me know what you think. Which one would you prefer? And maybe it would make a difference on the garment as well. I don't know. The white's kind of nice because you see the whole thing, but the black's kind of nice that you see the outline. So I don't know, I'm really torn. I'm going to try several different styles, and I'll show you all the different little things I try, and then I hope you guys give this a go. Definitely using a smaller needle would help too. You don't want to use too big of a needle. I may have too big in here. I was thinking about that. I might need a smaller needle. That make it easier. Okay, there's the top of our bunny. Now we just need his nose. We'll see how hard that is to put on. And look, see how his ear got wonky? But I actually think that's cute. Looks like he's listening, like he's got his attention. He's thinking about running. Like this one's alert. This one's sort of at peace. I love that. It just adds depth and character. And then we're going to add him a big nose. And so you can smell his carrots. And we're going to put some little arms on him. See, that's why this comes in handy, because I can flip it. I can move it around. I could put them out here like this. It's fun because you get to build a little character. Like I could put one down, one reaching out. Wouldn't that be cute? Maybe we'll try that. Remember, anything you stick out, you do have to cut around, which is fine. It's not hard. Maybe we'll put it in just a little so I can catch it. There we go. Looks like he's pointing at somebody. Okay, I'm not sure which one to sew on first, but I think we'll tackle the nose. And I also recommend making sure your thread is back here so you don't get any disturbance of what you're trying to do. Let's see, I came down a little bit again. It does, my machine may not be the right, I might have to switch to my other machine for this. I noticed my style of upcycling, well that looks kind of weird. Let's go around it one more time. I noticed my style of upcycling is very sort of earth, probably from growing up on a farm and being around nature, but it's very sort of earth oriented and very, very tomboyish. And so when you guys go to do this, whatever your style, it will come out. You'd be surprised when you try to copy somebody and it doesn't look like theirs, but then you're like, oh, but yet I like it. And it's kind of messed up. That's very hard. That is a tiny one. I wondered how small I could go. You know what would have been cute though, and I could do over it, is a button for his nose. That would be cute. So maybe if I do that again, I'll do a button. Okay. There goes another car, you guys. Laying by the road. Uh-oh, see how right there, you see that? It's grabbed something or come out of the needle or something. And another thing, even though I love this little machine, another thing it tends to do for some reason is throw its thread out of the bottom bobbin if you go fast. It's like speed control. Let me make sure I have nothing under here for it to grab and mess up on me. And then we'll try it again. There, it was stuck. One thing you will notice when you use serger thread is that it does have knots in it, and they will break on you or get caught in your tension areas. So I'm assuming this little arm is going to be just as bad to put on. You just sew in the middle of it. Remember, they'll all be sewn again when they're put on, but in here in the middle, like I would have to sew all the way around it and then put like button here and 2 little buttons here. I did get some tiny little black buttons from Temu. I thought they were bigger and I ordered them. But I have seen like bright colored tiny buttons, and that would be really cute. I don't know if I have anything small enough. We're going to see. Okay, I can skip sometimes. If you go extra and come back, you can skip. The hand looks backwards, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Now he's waving. Oh my gosh. This is tricky, you guys. This is tricky. Where do I want his hand? That's cute. Okay. Do I want to cut my string or not? Let's see what it does. And the small one, the white thread might not be as noticeable for the small details. I should have cut my thread. Now it won't let me turn. I'm sure all you that have automatic thread cutters are laughing right now. That's okay. I'm glad I could entertain you. So there he is. And then of course, when I sew him on, I will put, he'll be stitched again all the way around. So the outline will get darker. And then, let's see if I have a tiny button here. I don't know if I have anything tiny enough in this. Yeah, this is almost too big, but that's still cute. That's a little big. Let me see here. You get the idea. Is put a little button here. And if I've seen little tiny buttons, and that's what I'd like to use for eyes. I know this takes more time, like in an upcycle, but it's these details that sells the garment. It's the details, it's the patches, it's what makes it unique that will actually sell your garment. So, okay, let's move on and do something else. I want to do one with a square in the background that I can sew on as a square. Of course, I could always take these and sew them onto a square, but see how big they are still. And then sew it onto a square, cut it, and then sew that square on. But, some of these are just too big. That's why I'm trying to see how small I can go. And maybe if the tail feathers aren't sticking out like that. Oh my goodness. And then what I'm doing is, like this little bird here, is I'm just cutting them out like this. And you could, you can trim any areas that you don't want sticking out. You could use these in craft journals even. You could, oops. Another thing that I thought about when I put them on is I could actually take the machine and zigzag down and like this and add little legs to it, a detail on after the fact. I could, if I don't have small enough buttons, I could just do a standstill little zigzag, like cross stitch, you know, like a little cross for each eye. It looks like he's dead. I'll put dead birds on everything. How morbid is that? That's very morbid. I think this one's going to be trickier to cut out, don't you, and put down. Let's try it. Okay, and first I just cut the generalized shape out. It could just, I don't see why, because it's going to reinforce it extra. Like, it'll be better than other ones I've done right on garments because it's fully reinforced. With the back fabric, I don't think I'd go so heavy as like a canvas or anything like that. Unless you were kneading it that heavy. I think just a good medium weight cotton. Make sure it's pre-washed, otherwise it will shrink if you're using new fabrics. You know, make sure you pre-wash it so you don't get any trouble in the wash machine when you go to put it on your, and especially if you go to sell it and you're using a new backing, make sure you wash. I would wash my backing anyways to make sure it didn't shrink. That's not so hard. I feel like a little kid in kindergarten again. Yeah, cut this out. I'm just waiting for the Play-Doh and the Play-Doh to come out, or the, what was it my teacher mostly used for us? Finger paint. Which, by the way, I absolutely loved because I love to get messy. When I was a kid, I played in mud puddles. Now, I don't know how many of you guys played in mud puddles, but I love my mud puddles. I remember one time I got... oh, I'll tell you this story really fast. This is so funny. Okay, here's my mud puddle story. Me and my sister would always pretend we were movie stars, okay? You know, we'd get the movies. That's before the internet, remember? And we weren't allowed to watch a lot of television, so it seemed like the, you know, the mysterious world that, you know, we just wanted to be a part of, you know. I think we got 2 hours a week of TV was all we were allowed, so we really carefully picked our programming, and so we were pretending to be movie stars, and we didn't have like a swimming pool. We lived in a dry area, kind of like rolling plains, and we filled, we took the garden hose, hooked it up, and made a mud puddle and pretended it was a swimming pool. Me and my sister, older sister, and we swam. Boy, did we swim. We rolled in that water. My mom was so mad that she said that if we didn't clean ourselves up, she would. And I knew what that meant. It would be like garden hose. So we did ice cold water. The well was deep. We had a very, very deep well. At that time, I grew up around Holyoke and Ray, Colorado, and a lot of the big farms had moved in, and there's a water basin under the area, and they drained that. So we had to keep drilling deeper and deeper to try to get water. So that water was cold. We got a bar of soap, and we rinsed ourselves off enough to get into the bathroom, and then we went back outside because we didn't dare destroy the bathroom because we'd be in trouble again. I remember hosing myself off with the ice cold water and that. And then ivory soap. I deserted. I should not have. Oh, by the way, we made this giant puddle right beside a picnic table because that was our springboard. I was probably lucky to come out alive. I didn't do a head dive into my mud puddle. Oh my gosh. But my brother pulled a better one. We had, in the spring you get substantial amounts of rain, but then nothing really much the rest of the year. And down by the cattle barns, because the cattle would come to the water tank and leave, it created like a bowl effect, and then the winds would blow. Well, that would fill up with water sometimes 1 foot, 2 foot deep. And so they would go and play in that. They did only a couple of times. My mom would get mad. You know why? It was manure water. Poor parents. I think about it oftentimes that if my kids do anything mean to me, it's like it's probably bread on the water coming back. Oh my gosh. I hope you enjoyed that funny story. We'll do a few more appliques and I'm going to be done because I got to move on to another project, but I just wanted to show you this. So this is the final recap. I wanted to show you one more that I did, at least one more. I'll show you my little collection so far. But he doesn't have a beak on him. I figured I'd do that with thread because he's tiny. Look how tiny he is. But this is just, I did a little tiny version of my patchwork raw edge that I have a video on. If I remember, I'll link that down below. But I did a tiny version of that. And then I just cut out the shape of a bird. That was so much easier. But it's not as cute in some ways because there's no exact wing. So here's one I did that's as a patch. And of course they don't have eyes yet because I'll be putting buttons on them. And let me grab my buttons real quick. I'll show you what buttons I'm using. They're so small, you're not going to be able to use even the smallest buttons, really. On some of them I can, you know, that you get on a shirt, and they have like the ones where they pin the collar down, you have a button there. But these are little tiny. You'll find them in the craft department. Look how tiny those are. They're so small. And I accidentally ordered them, thought I'd never use them, but now I can see that they're going to come in very handy here. So, like on this little guy. And I'll show you all of them, I'll set some of these on, and then you can see kind of what they would be sewn on. But I had so much fun today. I hope you guys have fun. I hope you try this. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I appreciate also if you would like, share, and subscribe. It really helped me out a lot. I'm having so much fun doing YouTube. I don't want to stop. I don't want to get distracted off into anything else. And I'll put some little buttons on these, and I'll show you guys how cute they'll be. Isn't it strange that an eye can make such a difference? It's so interesting. It's like it's the soul, our soul or something. Oh my gosh, on the rabbit, he looks demonic. Let me show you. He looks he looks evil. Oh, here's some with the buttons on. Oh my goodness. I could even put one in the sunflower like that, like right in the center. Like that. I should get some of these in different colors, but I like the black. The black lets you know that that is the eye. Like the pupil of the eye. Oh, I bet this bird is going to look crazy too. Person could use a color thread to make a pupil a different color if you wanted, but that'd probably look even crazier. This one might be a little big for this guy. I might just have to do something else on him. And this one too is just probably going to be too big. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.